Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So from this video we are starting new series and we are going to build a to-do list application, and it is gonna be a full stack application, not just basic front-end work. So we are gonna have front-end plus back-end, and we are going to store our data to a specific database, which is gonna be a real-time database. And the stack we are using for this for building this application is gonna be MERN stack. Okay, so M refers to Mongo, then E refers to Express. So basically Mongo is our database, Express is used for backend routing and bootstrapping our backend application, then React for the front end, and lastly Node for the backend work, as Node is a JavaScript based environment which is used for building backend with JavaScript. Okay, so we are gonna have 3 videos in this series. So in the first video we are just going to build a front end, and we are of course gonna use React, and I will explain important hooks of React which are commonly used. So I will name two of them which are most commonly used and which are very much important. So those are use state and use effect. Okay, so we will check how those hooks work and how we can use advantages by how we can make advantage by using them. Okay, and we are going to use functional based components over class based components, as class based components are getting deprecated now. So everyone is preferring functional based components as they are very faster and easy to write the code using them. Okay, so in the second video we are gonna complete our backend work. So it is gonna be based on connecting Mongo and integrating everything with Node, and then we will couple then in the third video we will couple our backend plus front end, and we will do some basic styling, very basic styling. We are not gonna spend much time on styling as it is not very important, as we are going to focus on functionality, as it is very important to learn. Okay, and we will host this application as well. Okay, so this is gonna be our path. So let's just start the video. I will close this. For React you need to download Node.js. So let's just visit that Node.js page, and from here you can download your system required Node.js environment depending on your system, as Windows or Mac or Linux. Okay, so I have already installed, so I am not going to install it again. So we will just and for now I have started one server, but we are going to build our application from the scratch. So I will just open this window in VS Code, and command for creating new React application is npx create react app, and then we have to specify our application's name. So in this case I will just name it TodoList app. Okay, and let's just hit enter. So in this folder we are going to get our TodoList application bootstrapped by React. So it will take some time. So till then I will explain you React hooks and other basic functionality. So this is the server which I have already started for a demo purpose. So here the index.js file is the main endpoint where we pass our app component, and in app component you can see this is our app component. So every component and page you create or you want to render, so you should mention it here via routes, or we can directly place that components. We will see in a minute how we can do that. And this index.js file is connected with root id, and I will show you that root id as well. So if you visit public folder and index.html file, so here you can see this root id is connected. So this is how we can manipulate our front end with only JavaScript. And the syntax which we are going to use for React is the JSX. JSX is nothing but JSX is nothing but it is just used to write HTML code in React. So this is basically the simplest definition of JSX. It is used to write HTML code in React. So as I have started the server, so we will just see this much of code. I have rendered one h1 tag. So let's just check it out. So let's visit localhost 3000. Yeah, we can see we just have this hi. So we will manipulate it, and I will just make one component. So let's make component folder. Okay, and inside that we will make one file. So let's call it dummy, as we are just gonna, or I will call it hooks, as we are going to study about hooks. Okay, hooks.js. So we will just make one functional component, and you can make it like this. Oops. Okay, like the normal functional definition, but I am going to use arrow function as it has better syntax, and it is better to use arrow functions over normal functions, as it is a feature of ES6. Okay, so let's just export this function component. Okay, and we will call that function here component here. So okay, it will just auto import, and if it is not auto importing, so you have to specify its paths as in the current directory in the component folder and inside hooks.js file. Okay, so like this you can render your application. So now we will just say return one div. Okay, and inside I will make one header. Let's say hooks by React. Okay, so let's check if we have successfully rendered it. Yes, so it is working. So now we will study hooks. So we are going to study about two hooks. So we will just import them from the React as useState, and another one is useEffect. So first we will study about useState hook. So basically, when you want to play with state, or play means like if you want to make any, let's suppose variable which is gonna change by change per user's interaction with application. Like if I go to one example. So let's say user have created so in each shopping application, so we got to see a shopping cart, and as user make changes in it, let's say if he is adding something or removing any items which he have added from it, so it gets reflected to the entire application, like on a checkout page as well, on cart as well, on the user's account as well. So for those things to make happen and to control that state in multiple places, we use useState hook. So I know I have given a complicated test case, so I will just explain you using one example. So let's just make state of counter and useState, and just initialize it with 0. Okay, so and let's just make one button. Okay, so I will explain you in a minute why I'm doing this. And let's call it increment, and this button is gonna have one function, so I will just declare that function which is gonna perform by that button after user clicks that button. Okay, so let's say handle increment. Okay, so after when user is clicking on that button, what we can do is we will just set our counter to counter +1. so basically in this array of use state, the first argument is the value of state or the state we want to change, and the second one is the function which is changing that or manipulating that state. So we will just call this function as handle increment. Okay, and I will just render that counter. Okay, so you will get in a minute what I am trying to say. Okay, now our counter is 0. I will just refresh the page. Okay, so now if we click, just as you can see, it is changing the value. Okay, so let's just make one more function, and we will just make decrement function as well, so you will get better understanding. So let's just call it handle decrement. Okay, and here as well. So let's just copy this code, and instead of increment we will just say decrement. Okay, so and instead of adding 1, we will subtract 1 when user clicks on that decrement button, and we will adding 1 when user clicks on increment button. So let's just try it out. So if we decrement, okay, you can see the value is getting reduced by 1 per click, while increment it is getting added by 1. Okay, so it can be anything, like instead of 1, let's say we have added 10, and here we will minus 10. Okay, so let's just refresh the page. Okay, so by incrementing, you can see we are getting value incremented by 10, and by decrementing we are reducing that value by 10 per click. So basically in this array, the first argument is the state we are going to change, and the second one is the function which is gonna manipulate our state. Okay, so basically the second argument is used to manipulate or the change the values of the state or to control it. Okay, so this is the use of use state. So now we will just check how use effect works. Okay, so let's just make one use effect too. Okay, so this is the syntax. There are two arguments. So first one is callback, and basically when we are going to use effect is the main question. So use effect is used to re-render our application when something gets changed in our application. So suppose you have some kind of data in your application, and when that data and that data is real time, so if that data is getting changed, so our application should re-render and change all of its components which are related to that data, and that new values should get placed where they belong to in the new state. Okay, so we will just do it in a second. So there is one function document dot title. So what we will do is we will change that value per our counter. So for now what I will do is let's just say current counter, and this is the syntax. You can use variables inside quotes, and let's just pass counter here. Okay, or I will not pass for now, so just to show you. So here you can see React app is now current counter 0, as we have changed that. And now the second argument is a dependency array. So the each and every element which is present in dependency array, when that value changes, the functions which we have provided in use effect gets called for that change. So I will just show you. So okay, now observe. So currently our name of our application is current counter 0. So if I increment that, you can see it is changing. If I decrement that, you can see it is changing. And but if I remove that counter, okay, so now you can see it will not change as we haven't passed that value. But if we check it again, yeah, it will not work as we haven't passed our dependency array for checking which variable is gonna decide re-rendering of our application. So this is basically the use of use state and use effect. So it might have sounded confusing, but when we are going to build our TodoList application, you will get more comfortable with it as we are going to use it multiple times. Okay, so I will just stop the server. Okay, and we will just start our server. So for that I have to go in that directory. So TodoList. Okay, and now we will just start the server. So npm start is the command to start React server. So our server will get started. So this is the default files provided by React. So from those files, app.test.js, then web vitals and setup test. So these are not necessary, so we'll just remove them, and I will remove it from here as well. Okay, so this is the default code given by React. So we will see how it looks, and then we will remove everything and build our application from scratch. So till then I will make one component folder as we are going to use components. So React encourages us to use component based architecture as it is very handy, as you can reuse any code multiple times, and it is very easy. Like if you have let's say you have implemented one custom button with the styling of your own choice, and you want to reuse it multiple times. So uh, without writing that code again and again, we can just call that component multiple times, and it will just increase your productivity in coding, and your code looks nicer. Okay, so let's just see our logo list. Yeah, our development server is getting started. So we have to wait for some time. So here as well, as I already explained, this app component is our entry, and inside app.js file we have to mention all the components we want to render or the routes. Okay, so this is the default page given by React. So we will just remove everything as we don't want it. So okay, we'll just remove it. We'll just remove this class names as well. Okay, we will remove it as well. So and we will delete this logo file as we don't need it. Okay, and we will remove app.js as well. So we don't want any styling, we will just say hello there. So let's see. Okay, and instead of header I will make it h1 tag. Okay, as you can see we have a hello there in h1 tag. Okay, so we will just write our code. So in the components folder we are gonna have two more folders. So one for to do, and the another folder is for authentication. So we are gonna have user authentication, like login, register for each user, and we will just do that work in our backend and coupling front end and backend video. So for now we will just make front end. So we will first start with todo. So in the todo we are gonna have three files. First one is gonna be todo.js. okay, then we are gonna have a todo form. As for submitting any todo, user need to input some values, and then we will accept that information provided by user, and we will just create a new todo. Okay, and then we are gonna have to-do list, so where all to-dos are gonna be placed. So RFA, this is the shortcut to get new to-do list component. So I will just make it inside a h1 tag, and okay, and we are gonna invoke that to-do list component in our app.js. okay, so for now we are just gonna have this headings, as we haven't written any code. So we'll just start with the writing with the code. So we will first complete our to-do form component, as we have to take input and other values to create some kind of to-do. So basically I will just explain you the structure of our to-do. So to-do is gonna be an object which is gonna have some properties like text value, then it is gonna have ID, so for differentiating all the to-dos with unique ID, and okay, we will see if we want to add any new fields, we will add it at that time. Okay, so I will just make one component, okay, to-do form, and we will just simply write one input, as user is gonna user should input the text he wants to add as a to-do list in the to-do list for his work. Okay, so and that input is gonna refer to the text value which we are going to store inside to-do object. So we will use state hook, use state. Okay, so let's just say const, then as we have previously done, text set text, and we'll just say use state, and we will initialize it with empty string. Okay, and we will assign that value here. So this input is gonna take care of text state, okay, as we have coupled it. So then we are gonna have placeholder. So let's say write your to do here, or you can write anything here. Okay, write your to do here. Okay, so I will just call this to do form here, to do form, not to do list. Okay, and let's see if you are getting that. Okay, now you can see we have successfully added that input. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we are going to make one function which is gonna take value while when our inputs get changed, and it will set it to our text. Okay, by using set text function. So we'll just make one lambda function. So let's call it on change, and we are gonna take event. So let's say an e, and when we get anything in our input, so what we are going to do, we are just gonna change our set text function. As I already told you, the second argument of use state is used for changing the first argument, which is state. Okay, so it is gonna be e dot target dot value. So this is the syntax. No need to learn it, you can check Google whenever you want. Okay, so we have added it. So now we can type anything here. Okay, but it will not do anything as we haven't added the remaining functionality. So I would like to introduce one more hook, which is use ref. Okay, and use effect. Okay, so when we are rendering this application, our cursor is not getting attached to input by itself, so we will just do that. So for that I will make one ref as current ref, use ref, okay, and we will initialize it with null, okay, and we will use effect. Now what we can do is we will just say when our current ref dot current dot focus, where when we are reloading the page, our current rep should be at the input, so we will mention that here as well. So reference is equal to we will just say current ref, okay. So now if we re-render our application, as you can see our pointer is getting directly on the input value, okay. So now after taking the input, we need to make one button as well for submitting the form. So let's just give it one function on click, and let's call it handle submit, okay. So when user submits that TodoList application, we need to accept that form, and we will just make one to do for user, and we will re-render we will render that to do by list for that user, okay, on the UI. So let's call it submit, and here as well I will make form, so okay, and I will just say on submit we will provide same function handle submit, and we will make that function here post handle submit. So we are going to implement this function in a bit, so till then I will just add this one prevent default function to avoid lossiness of our data, as it will prevent the current state of all the objects, and it will not do anything. And what we will do is we'll do one more thing. So when we are submitting this value, our to do should get empty, as user should not get the current value of to do on that input value as well. So what I'm trying to say, if I have written anything here and if we are hitting enter, so this value should get disappear and it will be displayed later on here, but we should remove that on the submit link. So what we will do is we will just set our text to empty string, okay. So now if we check like this, okay, so if we hit enter, our to do input is getting cleaned, okay. So now we will just write our TodoList TodoList function, okay. So for TodoList we are gonna make one state which is gonna contain array of to dos, and we will just display those arrays. So we will just write the code. So let's make one state, okay, call it to dos, set to dos, and use state of course, okay, and it is gonna be an array, as we are gonna have multiple number of to dos, and for that array is the best data structure, okay. So we are just gonna map through each and every to do we are receiving from the user. So for now we will just make one function, so let's call it add to do, okay, and we will pass to do as an argument. So we are receiving that to do from user, and what we will do is we will just set our to do's set to do function, as I have explained multiple times. This second argument is used to control first argument, and first argument is the state which we are assigning. So to do is an array, and set to do is a function used for changing or altering that array, okay. So here what we will see is we will just spread the current to-dos over here, and we will append the new one here. Okay, so this is how we can do things in JavaScript. So what you can do is now we are going to use props. Okay, so I haven't explained props yet. So props means basically if you are generalizing anything, like you are just making a component, and the final values or the display values you want to mention in the other component, so we pass them as a props so that other components can access those properties and change them. So I will just give you example so you will get better understanding. So here what you can do is we will just pass this add to do function to this to do form, so like this. Okay, so let's say on to do submit, and here we will just say add to do. Okay, and now we have to take this function in our to do form, as we have passed it to do form as a prop, and we will use it here, and we have defined this function here, but we have to mention it to do form page as well. Okay, so what you can do is now we will take props. Okay, and props is gonna have one function as props dot on submit. Okay, as we have passed that function, so on submit, no, on to do submit, what we have done. Okay, on to do submit, right? And inside that we are gonna have three properties. I already told you, two properties, text, then we have id, and we will add one more property which is gonna be is to do complete. Okay, so to make to mark that to do complete or incomplete, we are going to use this boolean property, and we will just initialize it with default as false. And for generating unique id, I will just import one library, npm install short id, and I will install one more package which we are going to use, react icons for the delete button. And okay, this must be about it. So this short id library provides you unique short IDs which you can assign to your components or the values so that you can access them uniquely. Okay, so let's just complete. Okay, let's just start the server again. I will just import that short id. Import short id from short id. Okay, and we just have to do short id dot generate, so it will generate a new string value of id per each to do, which is gonna be unique, so we can differentiate all the to dos. Okay, so we have passed this. Okay, so let's check it here. And for now we will proceed to make our to do component. Okay, so again it is to this to do is gonna take some properties, so we will just pass them as props. So we are gonna pass to do which you are getting from to do list. Okay, and we are gonna display that to do here. So let's make one div. Okay, so I will just make it clear. Okay, and here inside so the code we are going to write in this to do component is gonna be for all the to dos individually. So for that, what you can do is we are gonna display our to do id and the to do text. Okay, So I will just say span. Okay, so and here let's just say to do dot id. Okay, and I will provide some spacing, and then we will write todo.text as our todo has these properties. Okay, so now for now we will just keep it like this, and we will render all the to-dos. So for that, what we can do is we will just write this code in our to-do list, as everything is coupled in our to-do list as a to-do form and to-dos as well. So for to-do, what we can do is we will just map through all the to-dos. So what I will do is to-dos dot map is a function to traverse in JavaScript. You can use for each as well, but I prefer map as it is better for performance purpose as well. So let's just call it to do, and what we are going to do is we will just return one to do component per each mapping. So what we are doing is we are mapping through this to-dos array, and we are picking one to-do at a time, and we are rendering that to-do component like the structure we are making for the to-do component. So that's why we have access that to-do component here, and we have to pass to-do here as well as prop. We have passed it in the component. So we have just we will just do like this. Okay, so now if we see, okay, to do text is not visible. What is wrong? To do text. Okay, I will make it bolder to differentiate those two values. So let's say font weight, and let's call it bold. Okay, why our to do text is not getting displayed? Here you can see everything is right. So we'll just check this function. So we are passing to do, then to do dot text. So inside to do form, yeah, we are assigning this value. Okay. Oh, here it should not be empty string, it should be text. Okay, as we are assigning state to that text prop. Okay, so sorry for that. So now if we see, we will just refresh the page like this. Okay, so this bolder part is our id, unique id, and this is our to do. So I will write some meaningful cricket player. Okay, now let's say soccer, let's say tennis, let's say Virat Kohli. So as you can see, the text which is in bold weight is our to do id, and the remaining string is our to do text. Okay, and to make it better, instead of rendering entire to do string id string, as it is very long, we will just render substring of three characters. Okay, okay, or two characters, let's say it is okay. So now it is better. So our rendering part is now completed. So now we have to make some functions for changing our to-do list. So what I want to do is, after clicking on these to-dos should get marked, and user should know about it, as we have marked them as completed. So what we will do is we will just pass one line through this to do, and it will get differentiated from others as it is completed. Okay, So for that, what we will do is we will just make two functions. So let's say const toggle complete, as we are changing it from true to false and false to true. And for that, we are gonna need to do specific id, as for each to do, the to do which we want to toggle should get uniquely picked, as we should not change the to dos which we haven't clicked. Okay, so for uniquely identifying that to do, we need to pass id as an argument. So what we will do is we will make one let variable. So let updated to dos, and what we will do is we will map through all the to dos. Okay, and we will pick each to do at a time, and inside our callback, what we will do is we will check of if our to do dot id is equal to idx. Okay, so if we pick that to do by the id by checking this by making this check, and I will explain why I am using triple equal to. So double equal to only checks for value, while triple equal to checks for value and data type as well. So JavaScript encourages you to use triple equal to instead of double equal to. So when we got that when we pick that or get that to do, so what we will do is to do dot is to do complete. We'll just check it once. Okay, so this is a property we want to alter. So what we'll do is to do complete, okay, equal to to do dot is to do complete, and we will just reverse it. So if it is currently true, then this not sign will turn it to false, and if it is currently false, then it will get turned to true. Okay, now after changing this, we just have to return the to do. Okay, so this much so this is our updated list of to dos. So again, we are going to use this function to change our to do list. So what we will do is set to dos to updated to dos. Okay, simple. Now we will make one more function to delete any to do. So I will just say const delete to do. Okay, so again, we are gonna need id, as we should uniquely pick that to do which we want to delete. Okay, so again, then here we will see, let's say remove to dos array. Okay, or you can name it anything, deleted to dos. Okay, so deleted to do means okay, I will name something better. So removed to do list. Okay, you can call it anything. I am just doing it for making it like you can relate it with what we are trying to do. So what we will do is we will just we can use that map property as well, but we don't need to do this completely. So what we will do is we will just simply spread all the to dos, and what we will do is we will just filter them out. Filter, so we will check to do, and what we will do is to do dot id should not be equal to the id which we have provided. So what we are doing is we are just excluding one to do which is which has id equal to this to do, as we want to delete it. So we are filtering it out. Okay, and we will just again use this set to do function, and we will say remove to do list. Okay, so we will just add those functions here. Okay, so let's say delete to do is equal to delete to do, and toggle to do is equal to what we have named it, toggle complete. Okay, toggle complete. Let's just save it. Okay, so now we have to access those properties inside our to do function. So I will just make it toggle complete as well for avoiding confusion. Okay, and we will just call this function, we will just take them as props. So as I already told you, toggle complete and delete to do. Okay, so I think this is our syntax. Okay, so what we can do is now we will just mark that text here. So we will provide this function in our in this entire div for like when we are clicking on any part of that div, we should toggle or toggle complete to do dot is complete property to its opposite state. So we will just pass toggle complete here. Okay, and here we will import one React icon for deleting to do. So I will just, we will just check on Google React icons. Okay, so it is better to use Google whenever you need while developing. So there is no shame in checking Google for silly mistakes as well. So let's just see for deleting. So we can use this. Okay, AI fill delete. So I will just import it. Okay, from I have previously installed React icons and inside it in AI folder. Okay, so here let's just create one span, and inside that we will call this AI fill delete. So now if you see, so let's make one to do. Okay, as you can see we have this to do. So as it, okay, for now we can keep it on the next line. In the styling section we will align it using flexbox, and we will make it look good. Okay, so for now it is okay. And toggle complete, and what we are gonna need one div as well. Okay, so control X, and okay, let's make it here. And what we are going to do is we are gonna have a class name. So class name is basically referred to styling class name, where we can pass any properties. So here I am gonna use it like this, as we have passed our toggle complete function. So when we are toggling that to do, our styling of that to do should get changed. So here we will use this quotes and then our property. So let's say when to do dot is to do complete, we'll just verify it is to do complete. Okay, so when this value is true, so in that case our class name should be complete, and when it is not, it should be empty. So I will explain you why we are doing this. So I will just make one complete class, and we will just decorate it like just simple decoration changes, which will allow us to mark the differences between two to-dos, which are complete and incomplete. So we'll just say test decoration line and line through. Okay, so I think everything is okay. So let's just try it out. Okay, it's not changing. Okay, something is wrong. So when our to do is complete, then our class name should be complete. Okay, so I mentioned it complete, yeah. And when it is not complete, it should be an empty string. So everything is correct. Why we are not getting the answer? Toggle complete. We have passed toggle complete function here as well. So let's just go through code once again. So I have completed complete in the index node. Okay, we have it. So is there any syntax error or spelling errors? So I think everything is correct here. So now if we check our to do component, so what we have done is we have passed this to do toggle complete function. Yeah, toggle complete, what it is doing is it is changing the is to do complete property, and then okay, it is default false. So what is wrong? So I will make it here. Okay, so let's just take if we are getting any errors inside console. We do have unique prof. Why it is not getting? Okay, yeah, I got it. Where we are getting errors. So we have passed index or the ID as an argument, but when we are passing this function here, we are not passing that ID as argument. As that's why we are getting these errors. So silly of me. So to do dot ID, and here as well let's just say to do dot ID. Okay, so let's just refresh the page. Yeah, now we are getting it, and I will just pass key here as well, key as to do dot ID. So it will, we will get rid of this error. Okay, now we can mark them. Yeah, now it is properly working. So now we will implement this delete to do functionality as well. So for that, what we will do is in this pan, when we are getting clicked on that button, we will just use this function delete to do, as we have passed it as a props. Okay, and it will do the remaining job. As you can see, we are deleting the to dos. Okay, so we can mark them as complete, and then we can delete them as well. Okay, so this functionality is pretty much done of the to dos. So what we have done, I will give you just overview. So we have created three components, where in the first component we have created to do form, where we are taking input from user and then assigning ID from our short ID package. And the third property is to do complete, so we are marking it as false, as user is just adding that to do, so it should be incomplete, as he is adding it there, so we are making it false. And we are using state for connecting the text value with this input, and by on change we are altering the target value, assigning target that value of input to the text state using set text. As I have told multiple times, the first argument is the value of state, and the second one is function used to change that value or manipulate that value. Okay, then in to do component we have just simply rendered the to do and we haven't styled it yet, but we have provided some functionality, like we can mark it as to do complete, and when it is completed, so we are assigning one class name, and then class name just have one functionality. I will just add one more thing, so let's just say green. Okay, so if you have, okay, so it will be better to differentiate those two tools. We are gonna obviously make styling in the later half, but for now you can see we can use classes like this for styling purposes. And what we are doing is when our to do dot is complete value is true, so then we are assigning class name as complete, and if it is not, then we are just assigning empty string, as it will not do any kind of styling as class name is empty. So this is a ternary operator which I am using. So then we are rendering to do id and to do text like this, but our to do id is too large, so we are just rendering the substring of that to do, and then text is gonna be the to do dot text, which the property included in our to do's object. Okay, so okay, and then we have imported one react icons library, where we get this delete icon. By clicking it, we can delete to do's. Okay, so this much is pretty much about to do functionality. So we will add more functionality when we are creating our backend. So for now we will proceed to create our authentication component, which is register. Okay, let's call it register.js, and let's make one arrow function, and it is gonna have 3 inputs. Okay, so placeholder, then value, and then on change. Okay, so I will just copy it three times. So I will just explain you the structure of user we are gonna have. So user is gonna have some properties like name, then email. So it is gonna be a string which we will take from user, then email, again string, then password, string. Okay, and then let's say we will mark our to do's inside a array, as we have declared our to do list inside an array. So this to do's array of user will contain all the to do's which are created by that user only. So suppose we have two users, Sarthak and Satyam, and if Satyam have created, let's say, 10 to do's and Sarthak have created 8 to do's, so Sarthak will not be able to see a to do's created by Satyam, and vice versa. So it will be and private data for each user, and we will it is going to have id which is assigned by MongoDB. So this is going to be a structure of our user. So for now we will take name, email and password as input, and the later work of assigning to do's to that user we will do it in our backend. Okay, so let's make 3 states. So let's say const, let's say name, set name, use state hook. Okay, and let's initialize it with empty string. So now we will have email, then we will have password and password. Okay, and we will just assign those values as name, email and password. And as we have previously done for taking the input per change, so we will just do this lambda function and assign name that value. Okay, e.target dot value. We will do it similarly for these two as well. Okay, and let's make it set email, and for the password it will be set password. Okay, so placeholder, let's say enter your name, enter your email, and enter strong password. Okay, and for increasing our security, we are not just gonna store the password which is provided by user. So let's say the password provided by user is, let's say, Sarthak123. Okay, but we it is not secure to save the password as it is, so we will hash it in our backend and store it like 10 to 12 character string, so which is very difficult to encrypt and decrypt back. So it will just increase our security, so we will do that work in our backend video. Okay, so for now we have taken these three inputs. So, and what we will do is, inside our app.js file we will just call that register function as well. Okay, so here you can see we have these three inputs, and we will make it to other endpoint. So for that we are gonna need router, so we need to install React router DOM. So React router DOM is basically used for navigation inside React application from one page to another page. So we will just, I will just make it arrow function, like it that way. Okay, so here we are gonna import some different, so we will just restart the server. Okay, and we are gonna need some values. So let's say routes and route from our React router DOM package. Okay, and we will just make our routes here. Okay, and route, so this route has two arguments. So first one is the path. So for the to-do list we are gonna assign the current homepage path, and the element or the component it has is this to-do list. Okay, so I will just paste it here. So this is the syntax of creating routes. So in the second one we will provide our register. Okay, and point, let's say user dot register. Okay, so let's just check it out if it is working properly. Why we are getting the error? Have I done any syntax error? Oh, I haven't coupled everything with browser router, so sorry about that. So let's import browser router, and we will just wrap this app component around this browser router. Okay, so now it will work. Yeah, and if we visit that register page, we will see this. Okay, so we have created this route for our register page and our to-do list application for the main home page. Okay, so you can see this amazing functionality. So I just make two buttons for toggling between those two routes. So for that we are gonna need link from React router. That link is gonna have button. So let's say home, and we will just copy this function again and let's say here register. Okay, so link button is basically used to visit any new endpoint, or let's say anywhere inside our page. So here to and it is the same route as this we have mentioned in our routes. And for the register we are gonna need /register. Okay, so we will just see. Okay, so home, we are currently at home. If we click on register, we are getting on register page. If we are clicking on home, we are getting here. Okay, so like this you can toggle. And this much is pretty much about this video. We have created to do just make it okay, to do functionality plus authentication component, auth component. Okay, so in the next video we will create our backend, like we will create schemas and the controllers, routes, everything in our node.js, and we will connect it with MongoDB database, and then we will connect backend and frontend, and then we will just provide some basic styling. So I will not encourage you to spend much time on styling, as anyone can do styling, but the functionality is very important when you are developing anything. So just focus on getting skills in functionality development rather than styling. So and I have tried to explain as much simpler as much I can, but I know I have in some places I have messed it up, and I have made it complicated for you, and the beginners will get more complicated. But if you get any doubt, you can ask me. So for now, thank you, and we will complete our remaining two parts in upcoming videos. So thank you and bye bye.